A month where I actually stuck to my TBR. I'm just as surprised as you are. Hey guys, what's up? It's Ashley. Welcome back to my channel. This is gonna be my September reading wrap up. So here we go. Okay, so before I get into it, I do want to say that I don't normally set a monthly TBR. I am a huge mood reader, but I think the reason I was able to stick to this one so well was because so many of the books on my list, I was purposely holding them off until September, and I think that's why it was just so easy for me to just check them off all the list. And I think there was only like one or two that I didn't get to. My washing machine is going, so I'm so sorry if that is distracting, but without further ado, let's get into those September reads. So the first book that I read this month was an audiobook. It was Survive the Night by Riley Sager. This was an okay thriller. I thought the premise of it was really interesting. So this does take place in the 1990s, and it takes place in the course of one night, where basically our protagonist, she is deciding to permanently leave her college after her college roommate had been killed like about a month before, and she can't do it anymore. She doesn't want to be there anymore. So she ends up getting like on this ride share list because it was the 90s, obviously, so things worked a little differently. And this guy who happens to be passing through her hometown says, oh, we can just ride together. So the entire book takes place in the car in this journey home or whatever, and she's kind of starting to piece together things, and she realizes the guy that she's with might be the killer that killed her roommate and stuff like that. So it was really interesting. I definitely wasn't bored or anything like that. My gripes were the protagonist. I think I rated this like a 2 or a 3 star because unfortunately this was just one of those typical cases where a male author just does not know how to write a female in a very positive light, because our female protagonist, she was just so oblivious and gullible, and she just kept putting herself in these stupid situations, and it just was not believable to me at all. Like, obviously thrillers, you know, not all of them are going to be believable plots, but this one in particular, her choices and her actions just really peeved me. And then the very end of the book, like the epilogue, she made some choices in her life that I'm just like, why? After everything that you went through, why would you choose to do that? So those are my gripes with that. Moving on. Okay, then I read A Court of Frost and Starlight. This is the like novella that's between A Court of Wings and Ruin and Silver Flames. So I know a lot of people don't like this one. A lot of people say you can skip it and go straight to Silver Flames. I, however, am really glad that I did read this because it really does set up Cassian and Nesta's story really well. I think that there's a lot that happens between A Court of Wings and Ruin and Silver Flames, and all of the fill-in gaps are here, and I just think it's important to the story. Plus you get a lot of really nice inner circle moments. They're celebrating like their version of Christmas or whatever, so it's just really cozy, just a nice little read. And then I read Love on the Brain by Hazelwood. This was a big anticipated release for this year for romance readers. This is the same author that wrote The Love Hypothesis, which was one of my favorite books last year, so I knew this was going to be a goodie. This had some mixed reviews, and I see why. It's very similar to The Love Hypothesis. I think, though, I liked it better. So both of these obviously are going to be STEM representation, academic rivals. The difference with this one is it does take place at NASA, and they were former like students together in college and stuff like that, but I really enjoyed it. It was a nice, easy read. I enjoyed the spice. I enjoyed the relationship. My only gripes were B and how oblivious she was to Levi having feelings for her, but other than that, it was a great, solid read. All right, then I read The Inheritance Games. This is one of those ones where I've been wanting to read it for a while, but I was purposely waiting until the final book came out, which was like this month. So I finally picked up the first book in the series. I really enjoyed it. It was a quick, easy read. I did only rate it like a 3 or a 3.5 star though, just because there were some parts that dragged on a little bit for me, but I was still very intrigued enough to want to continue the series. So I'm definitely going to try to make book 2 a priority in the next month or two, just because I think this whole series just gives off great fall vibes. Oh, and I guess I should talk about the plot of the book if you don't know. So basically our main character, Avery, at the very beginning of the story, she basically gets told that she needs to go to a reading of a will thing, and it's for this really wealthy man who lived in Texas. And she gets there, and his 4 grandsons are there for the reading of the will, and she basically finds out that this man left everything to her, like billions and billions of dollars. And so you later find out it's not really all that clear cut, because each of the grandsons were given a letter with these clues, and there might be like this whole underlining thing. So it's like a house of puzzles and games. It really reminded me of the movie Knives Out. But yes, if any of that intrigues you, this was a goodie. And then on my Kindle, I binged the Four Horsemen series. This was so fun. I wasn't really expecting to like this because one of my best reading friends, I think she either DNF'd Pestilence or she just didn't like it. And it put me off, and so months and months and months went by, and more of my friends started reading it, but they really liked it. And so I was like, you know what, I'm just gonna try for my own opinion. And I binged all 4 books in an entire week, and I loved it. So I have to say the best way to describe them is I felt like they were the level of addictiveness as Ice Planet Barbarians. Like, you have no idea why you keep reading these, but you can't stop. So obviously you have the 4 Horsemen, you have Pestilence, War, Famine, and Death, and each of them, you know, has been sent to Earth by God for their mission to basically cleanse the Earth of people and their sins and everything like that. So they come in their phases. Obviously Pestilence is the first to arrive, and then you'll have War, and then Famine, and then Death. And each of these guys is going to meet a girl who basically, you know, makes them question all of their motives. And I really liked them. Each book kind of has a similar format, in the sense of you're going to have your horseman at the beginning of the book, and our heroine usually is like in the process of trying to take him down, shoot him, stop him, whatever, and then the horseman retaliates by kidnapping her and taking her along for the ride. So that's the format for each of the books, but I do want to specify that each book is very different. Each horseman is very different. They all have different personalities, they all have different things that make them them, and I just really enjoyed it. I think my favorite book was War and Death. Like, I don't know which one I liked more out of the 2, but overall, I loved all 4 books. None of them bored me. None of them, like, put me in a slump. They were all just very quick, fast-paced. Oh my gosh, these are so good. But yes, they are all available on KU. Go try them. And I read one of my most anticipated reads this year, and that was A Court of Silver Flames. So I was purposely going slow on this series because I was waiting for the paperback version to be released. And I'm glad I did, and I'm glad I didn't binge them all back to back to back, because I took a year to read this series, okay? I started A Court of Thorns and Roses last year. I actually read it last September, and then I read Mist and Fury in March, and then I read Wings and Ruin over the summer, and then I read Frost and Starlight this month too. So I'm glad I spread it out. However, I still feel very empty inside after finishing this, and I think a reread is in my near future. I'm just saying, but I absolutely loved this story. I definitely have to say I relate a lot to Nesta. I think the mental health representation in this book was just a whole new level. And Nesta, specifically in dealing with her grief and how she processes things and how she communicates with people, I understand it, because I myself am not a person that people get along with very well, and I can be very hasty myself to a lot of people. And so it was very refreshing having a main character that you can relate to so much. Nesta also had like the best character arc ever. Cassian is just, yeah. Anyway, This book was incredible. It was an easy 5 out of 5. If you have not picked up the series yet, I don't know what you're doing with your life. And I read Kiss the Sky by Krista and Becca Ritchie. This is the 4th book in the Addicted/Calloway Sisters series. This is technically the 1st book in the Calloway Sisters. So this is going to cover Rose Calloway and Connor Cobalt. And listen, Lily and Lo are one of my favorite book characters, like couples ever, but I don't know after reading this one because Connor Cobalt is just like he's in a whole other league of his own, okay? But this story was so good. The found family is just really pulling my heartstrings right now, okay? It is really getting to me, and I love all of it. Obviously, most people know what this series is, but it's a group of 6 people, 3 sisters and 3 guys that kind of get integrated into the mix in different ways. And Rose and Connor are the smart ones. They're the like overachieving college academic rivals, and yeah. So I'm hoping to get to Hot House Flower very soon because I just can't stop. But this is also another series where I'm purposely taking my time with because I don't want it to be over. But this was, yeah, it was just very good. I highlighted and I tabbed a lot. And then kind of another similar situation to the Inheritance Games. There was another series that I have been wanting to read for about a year now, but I was purposely waiting for the release of the final book to get going. So I read Kingdom of the Wicked and I read Kingdom of the Cursed. And I have a new favorite fantasy series, okay? This was so fucking good. Like, I talk all the time about how villains, morally gray men, are my absolute favorite, and I absolutely love books where the villain gets the girl. And the villain in this happens to be the Prince of Wrath. He is a demon. So, yeah. Alright, so real quick, I'm going to just talk really fast about the plot of the first book, obviously, because the second one is going to get into spoilers. But our first book is about Amelia. She is a witch, and I think they're in Italy. And so she's a twin, and at the beginning of the story, she discovers that her twin has been murdered. Like, her heart has been ripped out of her body and everything like that. And so Amelia makes it her mission to avenge her sister and find the person that killed her. So one night she is going through her grimoire looking for spells, and she's trying to summon a demon that will help her. Well, the demon that she ends up summoning is Wrath. And your story is going to go from there. And so this is an enemies to lovers fantasy series. And I don't say enemies to lovers lightly because Amelia really hates him and Wrath really doesn't like her either. And you can kind of sense that there is a lot more to it than that. Like, Amelia might not be fully who she thinks she is, and Wrath might be a lot more than he's saying he is. So that's all I'm going to say from that, and then the story will continue in Kingdom of the Cursed, and then right now I am currently reading the final book, Kingdom of the Feared, and it's giving me everything I want. Like I said, this series is perfect, and I think it's a great fall series. Like I said, it's about witches and demons, and you can't get any more spooky season. Wrapping us up for the month of September, I listened to Truly Devious. So I did mainly listen to this on audiobook, but I did pick up the physical copy because there were some parts during the narration where I was getting a little confused, and so I actually wanted to physically see the pages because this is one of those murder mysteries that I really like that like includes police interviews and stuff like that. And so when you're listening to the narration of interviews, it's really confusing because they go really quickly with like the initials and then what they're saying. And so, like I said, I just had to pick up the physical copy so I could kind of understand what they were saying. But This was so good. So this is the first book in a YA murder mystery trilogy. So it's a continuation. This did end in a cliffhanger, so do not read them out of order. So Stevie Bell, she is the main character. She gets to come to this private high school where it's only juniors and seniors. There's no sophomores and freshmen. And basically at this school, they are there because of their special talents, I guess you could say, like if they want to succeed in their career later on. So Stevie really wants to solve true crime. So she was brought to this academy because of how good she is at solving stuff. And then some of the other students, you know, you have like a director movie guy, a tech girl who likes to build things. So they're brought there for their talents, which I thought was a really, really interesting vibe. So what's really interesting about this book is there's technically 2 mysteries going on. So the book starts off in 1936, and you basically read how this one student went missing and was found dead later on. And then the book picks up in the present with Stevie moving in, and she's kind of trying to solve this mystery too that happened in the 30s because it was never really fully solved. And then obviously the further you get into the book, something happens in the present day, and so these two mysteries are going to kind of intertwine with each other. But I do want to say nothing is resolved in this book, and that was a little disappointing to me, but at the same time, it is a trilogy, so I get that, and it does make me really, really want to pick up the second book right away. But yes, this was just a great mystery. It was very cozy, great for fall. Okay, so that is going to do it for the 13 books that I read in September. All right, so October is upon us. I am ready for October. I have a current reread of Corrupt going on. I'm going to try to get through the entire Devil's Night series. I'm going to try to get through at least the first 2 books of the Zodiac Academy series. I'm also going to be rereading those because the final book is coming out very, very soon, but I'm just so excited for October. I'm excited for dark academia and thrillers and mysteries and gothic romances and fantasies and just all of the amazing, amazing things that fall has to offer. All right, I will see you guys next time. Bye!